Confidence isn't a mindset. Simply, it's proof that you've done something so many times, it's unreasonable that you can't do it again. It's undeniable proof, it's conviction to know that you have the skills to meet the challenge at hand, whatever that may be. And something that really rung true for that and kind of pointed it out today, I was speaking with a client who rang me about her daughter, and I was impressed that she knew her stuff. She knew what she knew, but she was also very aware of her limitations about what she didn't know. And she was incredibly impressed with the offer that we have at hand and the confidence at which we spoke and the results we know we can get. And after explaining, there's a reason that we get 7 times the national average result for half the cost. And the reason is because we specialise on one subject at one level for one specific exam. Whereas most people who tutor, who teach others privately for a thing, might do a few different subjects at a few different levels for generally part-time. So that makes us, you take three different subjects, 3 different levels, that's already 9 times more activity on the same thing, and then you go from part-time to full-time, you're looking at like 40x the time spent on this one specific thing that we do. So it's completely unsurprising that we get the results that we do, and we're so confident in the outcomes of them. And during that conversation, I then said to her, I was like, this woman was saying that her daughter is, because of certain situations, she's really good at some things and really bad at other things, as she has been able to tell from the tests she's gotten at school. Sometimes she gets really, really great marks, and other times really, really low, all within maths. And basically, changing schools and changing the order in which things are taught, there's some things she's covered twice and some things she hasn't. And I said, now, given the number of students we speak to, thousands, I can promise that every person I have spoken to up until this day that has said that their child only needs help in a specific area, it's not true. And I was expecting that to be quite a sour turn in the conversation, and it wasn't. She was just like, actually, I think you're right. And I was like, yeah. I'm not saying it's a guaranteed thing about your child. I will assess her and I'll tell you that for certain, but that's my hunch right now. I've never seen it. Because the only times that's ever happened, which she didn't fit this criteria, is someone who's getting like 80 or 90% overall. And so there might be 1 or 2 topics that they've got down pretty much solid, and then there's the rest of them where they still need to touch it up a little bit. And in which case they're already getting an 8 or a 9, which are like they're the 2 highest grades, and so they probably don't need the help anyway. And I had this conversation with her, and then kind of came around to the idea that we found out that she was a lawyer, and I said, this is why we're the best. And I was like, I put money on it that you do the same thing, that you specialise in something. You don't just do law across the board, because that's how you're so confident of what you do. And she was just like, you're exactly right, I do corporate law, and specifically buying and selling companies. And I was like, that's very, very interesting because of what I'm interested in. And we ended up having a fun conversation about it. But her takeaway was that her experience, she found it so annoying when people came in that she speaks to every day and she's like, this is the best way to go forwards, and they choose to do something else, and then it goes exactly as she predicted, which is not the way they wanted it to go. And so she says, because of that and the conviction that I'm talking with and the experience and the proof that we have laid out, she's going to come in and listen, let me assess her kid and listen to the path that we've set out, because shockingly, I've done this 1,000 times. Actually, 1,000 times. Whereas she hasn't. And she was like, that's what I'm paying for, is the help and the guidance to do it in the best way possible with the experience that you have of doing it so many times. That is where confidence comes from. So yeah, a little story that I've had today that was really impactful. And just a reminder that if you don't feel confident in something, that's fine. You just need to go out and get the proof. And so If you can't get the proof, that means you're not good enough yet, and that's fine too. You just got to learn, improve, generally by doing, and then you have enough proof after a period of time to say that, hey, I am confident if this thing comes up again, I'm going to be able to do it. That's it. So I genuinely believe confidence is not a mindset. I believe it's a state that you obtain for a specific skill or a specific activity. And if you have enough activities in which you have undeniable proof that you are great at them, you then have the aura of someone who people would say is confident. If you are aware of your strengths and your weaknesses, you will happily be arrogant when it's appropriate. Is that arrogance? I'm not sure at that point. But at the times when you're not, you'll also put your hands up and say, this is not my area of expertise. I don't know. I'll give it my best shot if that's what you want, but I'm not certain. And actually, we had that exact same situation, which I wanted to tell this woman, I didn't get around to it, with another client who were begging us to take on a student. And I said, look, our average results are not for the type of student that we have here, like who's special needs. I don't know what the results are going to be like. And she's like, but the biggest thing you did was you talked to him like a normal person. And I was like, yeah, and that's what we'll do. But I can't guarantee it's going to work. And she said, that's fine, I'm happy to take the risk. And I said, okay, I will only do it if, and then I listed out a load of conditions which increased the likelihood that it worked for them. And they were a bit outrageous, but she was like, I'm doing it. Like, please and thank you, I'm doing it. And she did it, and the kids got great results. And it's just a reminder of why we do what we do. But it's things like that that continue to build your confidence to say, I wasn't certain. From my experience, this will increase the likelihood, I think. Let's test it out. And when it wins, you're like, that adds to my portfolio of knowledge. And even if it doesn't work, you now know that, like, hey, the last time I did this, it didn't work. Are you sure you want to take that risk again? Maybe we can try something slightly different. There you go. That's it. Confidence isn't a mindset, it's proof. Have a great day. Peace.